On this episode of Foster Denovo Talks, we welcome Leigh Cook. Leigh talks to us about her 30-year career at Wade Financial.
So basically, first time I was general admin. In fact, there was nobody really in charge of the office. I think when the two offices came together, they then realised they needed somebody to run the office. So I became office manager, as it was.
We then talk about the acquisition of Wade Financial to Foster Denovo and her role in that.
It was very time consuming. It took over my life for quite a few months.
I think it did, didn't it? Because the due diligence part of an acquisition is always quite intense.
Yeah.
And it was practically just you doing it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
basically.
it really was, yes.
And then she talks to us about how things have changed and the different role that she has now. So do check it out. Hi Leigh, thank you for joining us on Foster Denovo Talks.
Hi Helena, nice to see you.
It is. Would it be useful, probably would, for you to just explain who you are?
Yes, my name's Leigh Cook. I'm Partnership Practice Manager at Newcastle. Just been part of an acquisition that was bought out of just over 18 months ago now.
Goodness, is it 18 months?
Yes, where does the time go?
It doesn't feel like that at all, does it? But before we start on that, let's start way back when, not being rude. So let's start at the beginning. You know, what was your early career? What was your sort of career journey that you went on?
So I kind of fell into financial services just by chance. Finished college, H&D in business and finance, and then went for a job interview at Equity and Law back in the olden days, I say way back. I got offered that job, first interview, first job, straight into it.
Love it, straight in.
And then one other job after that, and again with another life office, which was Scottish Amicable back in the days. And then I knew the guys at Wades through both of those life offices. Life offices closed, as they did in Newcastle when all the smaller branches closed. So got offered a job there at Wades, and that's been me for 30 years.
My goodness. So you had a career before Wades, then you went straight in there. And talk to me about how Wade Financial looked when you first joined and then how it's evolved. Because as you said, 30 years.
Yes,
wow.
Massive changes. Obviously, seen massive changes in the industry itself. So start off at quite a small office, and we were in an attic room, basically.
Okay.
There was only 2 advisors, 2 admin. And there was another branch in Cramlington. So we merged both of those into the bigger building, the building that we're still at today, actually. And again, the company went through massive changes from recruiting to a massive organisation, and then realising actually that's not how the company should be, to downsizing, getting more experience, becoming a charter firm, focusing on good quality financial advice, good team. And say we're still in that building today, and that's how we are when we were acquired back in the end of 23.
So you went from being 2 advisors, 2 admin in your attic room, and then you went, how big did you get? What was the sort of high point?
A high point was probably about 10 or 12 advisors at one point,
right.
Then back down to 5, 6.
Okay.
Number, yep.
And we're now at 6 or 7?
Yes,
6 it is at the moment, isn't it? Yeah. And what was your role there?
So basically, first time I was general admin. In fact, there was nobody really in charge of the office. I think when the two offices came together, they then realised they needed somebody to run the office. So I became office manager, as it was in those days, and just basically looking after everything. I did my financial planning certificate, because at one point I was thinking about becoming an advisor.
Okay.
I did a degree in business and finance while I was working there as well. So got my degree, got my financial planning certificate, but enjoyed the admin side. It's my thing.
So you never thought, so you sort of thought, maybe I will go into being an advisor. Yeah. And then what happened? You saw them doing it and thought, oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, that was me like, oh, no, that's not my thing. I would prefer sorting out all the paperwork and making sure the office, I love systems and processes.
Yeah.
I love, getting new systems and processes implemented. I just totally loved.
Okay. And you say, and it's sort of such a generic title, I was an office manager. Now, that can mean wildly different things, okay?
Yes.
So what did it actually mean in practice for you? Because I don't think office manager is really what you were doing, right?
No, it's great. It's almost like you're looking after a paperclip, isn't it? That title. Everything, literally from HR. I was the HR department. I did the accounts. I dealt with the compliance side of things as well. There was literally me running all aspects of every. In a small business, you need somebody who has their hands in all of the pots, I would describe it as. Knew everything about the day-to-day running of the firm. As I say, kept up to date with all the compliance. I was always interested in that kind of thing as well. Had a great team of admin, but there was only ever really me there looking after all those little aspects of the job.
Right. And if you had to choose, sort of what was the favourite aspects of the role and what's the least favourite part of what you did then?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always look, compliance still interests me. I like the regulatory side.
This is the whole systems and process that you like.
Everything needs to be in line. Everything needs to be up to date, needs to be current. We used to get the reports back. We used an outsourced compliance firm. I like to make sure that they were happy when they came in. If that, like to be favoured for how good you've done your job. I think probably the least favourite part of my job, I don't know if ever I had a least favourite part. Probably all the little jobs you have to do around the building. Like, if the toilet's broken, I have to sort that out. All of the daft little jobs.
So that side, that's what we think of when you say office management, isn't it? You think about that, you need some weeds outside or this, that and the other. So, no, I get that. And obviously, as you said, we acquired Wade Financial sort of 18 months ago. You were such a massive part of the acquisition and the role you played. So just explain what you were actually doing through that from the start to sort of the end.
Yeah, so during the acquisition, obviously, we realised at the point where the guys decided they were ready to sell the business that we knew we'd have issues with the data. The back office system that we used was archaic, but it wasn't the right time to change systems because we didn't know who would acquire us and what kind of system they would have. So we knew it was going to be an issue. Yep. We knew that the firm looked good. We knew everything was there. It was getting the data in the right format. So that just took a massive amount of time. I say, everything's present and correct. It's just how you're able to display that data and present that data. It was very time consuming. It took over my life for quite a few months.
I think it did, didn't it? Because the due diligence part of an acquisition is always quite intense. Yeah. And it was practically just you doing it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
basically.
It really was, yes.
So, what was the most onerous part of it then?
I'd like to say, I think the most onerous part was making sure the data was correct. You always, wanting to present the firm that's best. Like, you knew how good the firm was. I knew the clients inside out, but still presenting that data to make sure it made sense. And obviously, I think to you guys, making sure that it looked like we were a competent firm that were giving you the data and information that you needed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you did a great job. Trust me. And you're delighted that that's sort of behind you. So you're now sort of fully embedded, I think we can say, in Foster Denovo. Yes. How has your role changed since Wade's to Foster Denovo?
Yes, but massively changed. Now I'm much more involved.
In a good way.
In a good way, yes, in a lovely way, yes. Yeah. I have so many people around, more support. HR department is the end of the call. And whereas previously, if you ever had HR issues, you always had to figure that kind of stuff out yourself. There's somebody just on the phone to pick up, to chat to, talk through everything. It's lovely. I'm being involved in all of the projects that I've been involved with. Seeing the AI technology is just blowing my mind at the moment. It's can't wait to get that fully implemented. And even during the process, I think one thing that we always found was that having a good IT infrastructure was always important to us. We knew we needed to move on as a company. Then when we moved on with Foster Denovo, it was amazing seeing all that technology, the systems and processes that we like to see.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I mean, that's an endorsement right there. Yeah. Thank you very much, Leigh. That's brilliant stuff. And you've seen both sides of it. Throughout your career, you've seen big firms and small firms. What's the biggest adjustment that you've had to make going from a smaller firm like Wade's to coming into Foster Denovo?
Yeah, I think the biggest adjustment, obviously, as a small firm, your feet are on the ground, you make instant decisions, things need to be dealt with quickly, you're very easy to be reactive. There is obviously a slightly longer process when you're dealing with a bigger organisation. But on the positive side, plus side, the career paths, the support that's there, that's how there's so different. Sometimes you were never alone because I always had support, but sometimes I had to make that decision, whereas now it's always reinforced by somebody or helped by somebody else.
And to the team, so, there's always a concern, isn't there, when you come in and sort of you take over, the team are just like, what's going to change? How's my job going to change? How does that all work? How has that developed for you? Because they were slightly nervous, but then we came and met everyone and we went out and we had a whale of a time, didn't we? Yes. And I think everything settled down a little bit after that.
Everything's good once you've been out for a drink with the Newcastle, everything's good. They were very apprehensive. Obviously, when they first understood that the business was being sold, again, a lot of them had been with the guys for a few years, very apprehensive, would the jobs be secure, I think is what everybody thought. And at first, from the acquisition, it was fast paced, it was like straight in, on the ground running while still trying to service the client. So again, apprehension, can I learn this new system? Do I understand it? And at first, we had a few hiccups, I'm not going to lie. It was a bit challenging the first few months. But I think everybody now realises, again, the support's massive. Everybody realises somebody at the end of the phone. And they've got career choices now, whereas previously they didn't have anything like that. You know, they've got a career path they can follow, so many different options. And I think that's what everybody's looking forward to. Once now we're fully embedded in the process, everybody's mind's now starting to, writing the PTPs and thinking, where can I go next? What does it look next like for me next?
And I think that's nice, actually. I was talking to another team and they said exactly that when you're in a smaller firm, there is only a certain amount of roles that you can have there, right? And as much as people try and create the jobs, if they're not there and you don't have the need for them, it's really hard to do. So, and I know some of the guys are looking at development and exams and all that sort of stuff, which is brilliant. So, I mean, I'm very happy that it's working. I mean, we couldn't ask for better people, I tell you. I mean, honestly, the Newcastle crew is brilliant and it's great having you guys. What do you think the future looks like for you then?
So I'm loving my role now as it is.
Yeah.
Get to the end of the acquisition period for us. Obviously, there's quite a few metrics that we need to hit. Then perhaps have a think about my career after that as well. What would I like to do? I love to travel, so I'd love to be able to have some more time off travel. That's me in some bed somewhere. But like you say, because you've grown with the company now, I didn't have those options about where my career would go. It'll be interesting for me now to actually think, what do I want? Where can my career go from here? So that's what I'm excited about.
Well, no, and that's lovely. And I think it is, we have been getting you involved in much more stuff and the AI and all of that sort of stuff. So it's really nice testament. And that's kind of what we want. But we don't want you to travel too much, I don't think. No, exactly. I think, well, that's been brilliant. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you.